Hello, and welcome to a developer let's play for Wizards and Warlords. I am going to be playing as a wizard, so let's start up the game. As you may be able to surmise from the name, I could also have played as a warlord, but as that's a bit of a more difficult experience, I'm just going to be playing as a plain old wizard, as that gives the best introduction to the game. If I check this button, I will start up a quick start game. That won't give me advanced options for world size and stuff like that. So instead, I'm going to click on the wizard icon and go to the advanced game setup. I'm not going to change anything, but I'm just opening it up anyway so you can see what's in there. You can change stuff like world size, the difficulty and harshness of the world environment, and what kind of races you want in the world. You can force the game to let you spawn with a specific race, and yeah, there are a couple of other options. You can also choose how many opponents you want to face, or if you don't want any rivals at all. But I'm just going to go with the default setup, even though I didn't click the quick start check mark. Let's play, I'm just going to go with a bog standard Archmage. So I'm going to click a couple of times to find a name that I'm happy with, and then I'm going to continue. The last thing remaining is for us to pick a sigil and a banner color for our Archmage Nurgle, and I'm just going to pick a white background and a black sigil, and then we'll get on with it. What happens now is that the game creates a completely random world with random cultures and continents, deities, planes, secret dungeons, ancient history, and all kinds of stuff. And once that's done, we're popped down in the middle of it, and we get this intro screen where we can see a little bit of info about how to play a wizard. I'm just going to turn off the tutorial because I don't really need that right now, and I'm being given the option whether to turn it off permanently. If I choose to do so, I can go into the settings and turn it back on if I want it for future play sessions. And here we have an info dump on the various deities and any relevant cosmology for this generated world. We can see in our world we have 12 deities, and for some reason half of them are greater deities, and then there are 5 lesser and only 1 minor. You can hover over the deities and get a description of what domains they have. Different characters and cultures will have relations to these religions, and they will impact gameplay in various ways. Now we're given information on a subset of the cultures of this world, the ones that are most relevant for our wizard. We can see that we have followers and military units from 2 different cultures, the Dusk Taker Orcs and the Feral Clad Goblins, and then we can see what cultures are nearby and a little bit of info about what's a bit further away. And yeah, we can see it's mostly Orcs and Goblins, and we'll have to see what we can make for that. So now we're finally into the meat of the game, and let's take a look at what we have. We start with the Wizard Tower and a single army. We're going to take a look at that one, and we can see that we have just 1 single unit in it, a unit of Battle Ragers, Orcs, and they are pretty pathetic. So we should probably look into getting a better army, because we're not going to conquer anything with this army, and we might even have problems if some kind of early game marauders show up. So let's take a look at our options. So let's click on the little tent icon up here, which opens up the military window. So we have 2 units available right now, unit types. We have Wisps and Owl Axes. The Wisps are a summoned unit, which will cost us mana. They're not really that good, but they're cheap. And the Owl Axes are a Orc unit, and they are really bad. They're even worse than the Battle Rages we have. But let's try one anyway. We can choose from a list of trainers, which is a really good idea because otherwise it can take a very long time to train up mundane troops. We'll pick one with trained troops. And then if we pick the low life recruits option, that will take a shorter time to train, but they will have worse courage and discipline. They already have terrible discipline, so who cares? So let's try that. And oh no, we can't because we don't have any recruits. So we will take a look at our recruitment pools, and they're all empty. So we send out some characters to get some new recruits. And yeah, let's just pick 2 orcs because we want orcish recruits, so they'll do a better job of that than the goblin would. And we pick another one, and finally the last orc. And that's it. As we apparently have an incredibly poor army, we have terrible recruitment options. We need to look into building some upgrades to our tower and conducting some research so that we can get access to better units, because what we have right now is not going to cut it. Even if we have a horde of them, they're not going to do much. So that's going to be our plan for the first couple of turns, apart from exploring, which trying to build up. And that's also why I did not want to recruit any wisps, because we're going to need that mana for research. And let's take a look at our followers. In the meantime, we might want to send one out to conduct some searching for dungeons, so we can get some research and some resources from that. So we pick our goblin, and we pick a task for him to go out and search a province. You can do this from this follow window. Different categories, and we only have one option, that single province. And maybe let's not do it this way. I'll show another way of doing this. Before that, we'll just assign the goblin as our favorite follower. Single goblin, we love him. He'll get more XP. Okay, so we click a hex in this province. And then we have these icons that we can use to toggle on various options. So we turn on the province names and the borders. And now we can see that this province of Unsum, where our wizard tower is located. And then if we click any hex in that province, we can then from the action icons in the lower left corner of the screen, we can pick search province, and then we can select the character from there. So we have 2 different ways to assign these tasks, and that's the case for most tasks actually. Let's do some exploring then, and we take our army, move it around the map, and yeah, here we have some primordial trees. This might be a good spot to build a logging camp, which we can sell some of the lumber. Probably don't need all of it for building. Let's take a look for spells. We have a little bit of arcane magic, a unit buff that we don't really need right now, and some read magic, which can boost research. Now let's take a look at some of these notifications we have on the right side of the screen. We have some workers that are idle, and we don't want them to be idle because they're our primary source of gold in the early game. So let's go to the tower. We could have assigned them to the task directly from the notification, but just for showing how to interact with the tower, I'm going to go into the window and do it from here. We can upgrade it. We're not going to do that right now. We're just going to add the workers. We have elves and orcs. They're probably going to be really good friends. So let's assign them to the tower, and now we can see that we have much more gold per turn. That's great. That's really going to be helpful, because otherwise we have trouble building up our economy. Let's turn off worker display in the outliner, because we don't want to see those. It's irrelevant right now. So before we go on to actually pressing next turn for the first time, let's take a look at our quest, because that quest relates to something that we like to make sure we've done before we press next turn. We have this quest called Arcane Research, where we need to research 2 projects of any kind. So let's take a look at what kind of research we have available. Go to the magic window, and we just take a quick look at our masteries. As mentioned earlier, we have arcane and warding. We can see our expected progress towards the next level during the next turn. And for projects, we can show all projects, just the ones that are currently available. We don't really need to plan research right now, so let's just take a look at what we can do right now. We don't want to unlock any masteries because they're expensive, and we don't want to research lore that gives some nice little bonuses, but they're very unpredictable. So let's instead go for sense mana nodes, because that's going to give us a permanent mana income increase once we can bind those. So that's a really good choice for a first research project. So let's press next turn, see what happens. Oh, we got a pop-up saying that we have some resources that we need to decide whether to stockpile. So we say yeah, and then we go and check out our food, no lumber, and yeah, we just stockpile all of it. We don't want to auto sell any right now. Oh, that was our first turn, and yeah, I'll be back in the next video with more, and until next time.